You couldn't tell anybody what you've seen because they wouldn't understand. The enemy has a vote. And that enemy for me at the time was my mental health. And no matter how hard you try to suppress things, it doesn't work.
Towards the end of treatment, so many veterans will say, this really works. Like, I can actually engage with my life again. Prolonged exposure therapy is a very well-researched, evidence-based treatment for PTSD. So at its core, it really helps people face memories, feelings, situations that they've been avoiding. And avoidance works until it doesn't.
I was just so focused on the plan, hypervigilance. Those were the two things that ruined a lot of family time.
Prolonged exposure therapy really helps break that cycle. By revisiting a trauma memory repeatedly, it helps change the relationship with that memory. Over time, it loses its power, and that memory becomes less of a threat and more of something that happened in the past. Usually we say about 8 to 15 sessions, 12 sessions on average, typically starts with psychoeducation, right? So we're just telling the veteran and informing them about PTSD symptoms, and especially on how avoidance helps keep those PTSD symptoms alive. The second piece is the in vivo exposure part, and that's where we find situations, people, places, things that they've been avoiding since the trauma. Honestly, most of the veterans we see have had many traumatic events happen in their life, even starting from childhood. We initially do focus on one event, but the reason we try to focus on one event is we notice that focusing on the one that is really at the heart of it all, or the one that shows up or maybe haunts the veteran the most, we see that the benefits of this treatment actually generalize to some of the other events as well. We find that learning those sort of skills of approaching, they'll start applying to other events in their life. The third piece is the imaginal exposure, and that's really the heart of PE, right? That's where we are in session recounting the trauma memory, audio recording it, and then listening to it for homework. And yes, this does sound really hard, but it gets a lot easier over time, and that emotional intensity lessens like each week. So the last piece also happens in session right after the imaginal exposure, and that's the processing piece. And that's where we talk about, hey, like, what came up for you during this? What kind of thoughts and feelings emerged? What images emerged? There's a lot of healing done during this piece, because I also find that's where a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda type of thoughts get addressed.
The therapy has helped me not to get so overwhelmed emotionally. You talk about your event, and again, the first time I talked about it was about 5 or 10 seconds long. And then by the time it was around a 30 to 40 minute event where I could remember people touching me, the smells, the atmosphere around the place. Going through every step enables you to relive those events or that event in a very positive light. You don't realize it until it's over. It's tough. It really is tough to remember everything that you went through, because your mind doesn't want to release it. And then when it does, it just comes completely out. It's like cracking an egg, and the yolk comes out, and it's raw, and your emotions are raw as that egg. Over time, you start cooking that egg, and it becomes where it's palatable to eat. The big thing I think I found was you have to declare yourself vulnerable. We're all macho guys that we're in some severe ground combat. You put everything in a compartment and you lock the key. When you go to this training, you have to admit and you have to be vulnerable. The key to it has been me involving my family. I didn't show them any of my findings or anything like that, but explaining to them why this exposure therapy is good and that we need to continue some form of challenging me.
Family plays a huge role, I think more than they realize. One of the ways actually in which PTSD gets reinforced at home is through family members. And it is so well-intentioned. They care about their veteran. They want them to be okay. But actually the checking to see if they're okay constantly, or the avoiding certain topics or making excuses, that actually reinforces, that keeps the PTSD symptoms alive. So in the beginning of treatment, we try to educate families on this dynamic. Again, not assigning any blame, but just saying, hey, this is actually not helping your veteran in the long run. Let's think about how we could support him more effectively. Sometimes family members will come into treatment and they'll learn a little bit more about what treatment looks like, or we'll actually incorporate them into homework assignments, kind of like we did with Buck. For example, a really common in vivo homework assignment, right, is trying to target being a little bit more comfortable in crowded situations, right? So we might have a veteran and his wife, let's say, go to the grocery store together, right? So a family member accompanied the veteran at first, but eventually the goal is for a veteran to be able to feel confident enough to do that on their own.
I have more control over it. That's the big thing. And my wife has more control over it. She knows what trigger words that bother me. She knows what words help calm me down, or how to touch me on my hand, or that type of thing to help me relax. I have to give 60% to the doctor, but I have to give 40% to my family and us working together to try to find a path out of this and support this continuous path.
The biggest factor in success really is that readiness. They're coming to treatment and really acknowledging, hey, my current coping strategies are not working and I'm really missing out on my life. The biggest obstacles in treatment are going to be doing the work consistently, because the treatment is really hard in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, this is a long game, right? And they're not gonna notice the benefit right away. So really sticking with it, really sticking to their big why am I doing this, can be particularly challenging.
This has been intense. How tough each session was. I looked forward to that session because I felt a relief, and I felt like I found a piece of the puzzle to complete my therapy. And it can be made easier if you embrace it, make it deliberate, and include your family.
Prolonged exposure, it's not about forgetting the trauma memory, right? Forgetting that it happened. It's really changing your relationship with that memory. We know that treatment is working when the trauma memory is no longer hijacking your everyday life. That could look like a few different ways. Obviously, we have measures that quantify PTSD symptoms, so we're looking for meaningful reductions in those symptoms. But I think the real markers are functional. Is the veteran going to the grocery store more often, or helping with household tasks? Are they going to their kids' football games? Can they hold a job, right? Are they living instead of surviving? It's just, are they actually now engaging in the things that matter to them most? The evidence is clear. The outcomes are real. For a population who has already demonstrated a tremendous amount of courage, prolonged exposure therapy asks for another act of it, right? To really face what they've been running from. But they'll be with a well-trained team from the VA every step of the way.